Beautiful today. Oh, we are live. Okay.
We are live,
Let me go to
but I don't think
my.
anyone's going to be watching just yet.
We gotta wait for the children to stream in.
The children, they're mostly all college students this time.
Okay.
Okay.
How is everyone doing? Shreya, you gotta lead the conversation here.
Wait, I'm trying to check because on Twitch it doesn't actually
it's live.
show us.
It's live.
Okay, cool.
It's live.
Um,
Because I'm watching.
I'm doing
right
great. How are you all doing? I'm just gonna pull down the slides so we can see everyone's faces. We have a lot of awesome speakers today. Daniel, do you want to talk to us about a little bit about your background and what's going on with that?
Yeah, so I am a developer relations engineer, and basically, I founded New Relic. That's really funny. No, I founded BitProject,
Yeah.
which is started as a student organization at UC Davis, where I went to school, but now it's a student org nonprofit around the world that helps like awesome students learn how to code. So yeah, I'm super excited to have an info session today where we get to meet all the awesome people behind this project. We get to learn a little bit more about serverless and reconnect with Anthony, Emily, everyone here. It's going to be a really exciting day.
Awesome. Also, before we actually go into the presentation and while we're waiting for people, do you guys mind doing like a post so we can post about it on our social media? Okay, what should our post be? Should we just do like a peace sign? Okay.
Peace sign.
Are y'all ready? 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Thanks, guys. I love Anthony's face. He's just like. Emily, how are you doing today? Are you excited about the info session?
I'm very excited to answer some questions, but also because it's Friday.
Wait, Emily, your
Awesome.
mic is weird.
Yeah, your audio is kind of fuzzy. Okay. In the meantime, Fifi, how are you?
I'm great. How about you?
I'm good. I'm really excited to learn a little bit more about your project later in the presentation today. But yeah, are you excited about the Serverless Camp coming up in the summer?
Yes. Gosh, it's been so long since I was part of the cohort, and it's going to be so fun to teach it with a bunch of other people who are also part of that camp.
Yes. And then last but not least, Anthony, one of our awesome mentors who's been there since day one. How are you doing, Anthony?
I'm doing good. How are y'all doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to learn about your mentor experience because I think this is like the first info session where we actually have a mentor talking about, what it was like for them.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to our BitProject Twitter and just post our cute little picture that we took while we're waiting for more people to join. But
how's my mic? Does it work now?
Yes, it's working. How are you, Emily?
Good. I'm doing well, especially because it's Friday. End of the week.
I'm going to use that as the caption. It's Friday.
Love it. Yeah, I think the folks at home are streaming in, so super excited about that. I will be periodically posting, every 5 minutes, the link to apply, as well as more information on the website. So super excited. Also, feel free to engage with us in the chat. This is not a formal webinar because I have to do those for my job, and those are not very fun. So these are fun, exciting Twitch stream. So feel free to ask us questions.
Awesome. We do have around 44 people live right now. So should we get a start?
We should get started. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, great.
Awesome.
So I am going to go ahead and just show off our really awesome social media. Please go follow us. We're trying to build our social media accounts right now. Okay, cool. So Serverless Camp. This is really exciting because this is our third iteration of the Serverless Camp. Daniel, do you want to talk a little bit about what's going on?
For sure. I'm super excited to actually talk about serverless because I think it was the first major bootcamp that we put together as BitProject, where students from all different backgrounds with varying previous experiences got together to build a project from scratch in 6 to 8 weeks. I just find the whole process to be fascinating and such a such an inspiring journey, for all of our students. So yeah, I'm super excited to introduce what we're doing this summer.
I'm really excited as well. Also, if you guys have any questions along the way, feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll have like a nice public open Q&A session at the very end, and we'll try to address them then. But yeah, so these are our amazing speakers today. It's going to be me. I'm going to talk a little bit throughout. Daniel and I will be talking throughout. Emily's going to be talking about the program, about the tooling that we're using to improve this version of the curriculum. Nisha's going to be talking a little bit about the mentorship program. And then Anthony, one of our actual mentors for the last 2 or 3 camps, will be talking about his experience later.
Yeah, also, I want to say that I was the only one following CDC guidelines in that picture, wearing my mask.
That is true. You're the only one wearing a mask there.
Yeah. So, hi, my name is Daniel. I'm the president extraordinaire at BitProject. I also work full-time as my day job at a company called New Relic, where I'm a senior developer relations engineer. And both at my job at New Relic, as well as my role at BitProject, my job and my mission in life is to make tech more accessible for more people and make sure that you at home can be an engineer. So we want to make sure that everyone has access to tech and become awesome developers, that will eventually build the world. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay,
build the world. That is definitely what it is.
We have to rebuild the entire world. That'd be a good idea, actually.
Maybe in Minecraft. Okay, let's go to the next slide before I might embarrass myself a little bit more. So here's kind of the problem of why I started BitProject. It's because when I was in school, when I was in college, it was super hard to get started with side projects because I was like, where do I get started? Like, do I learn React? Do I learn Vue? Do I learn Svelte? Like, there's so many different technologies. There's so many different options. It's really overwhelming. So that's like what I struggled with a lot when I was younger. Oh, younger, like 3 years ago when I was in college. Next slide, please.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Struggling.
Well, so BitCamp is the program that I came up with at BitProject to help alleviate this problem for students. So BitCamp is basically a way for students to learn and build something like from scratch together. Because I felt like when I was in college, I always felt like I wanted to do side projects. But when my friends were like, hey, do you want to grab boba? Or, hey, let's go on a picnic. I would always go to the picnic. I wouldn't ever be like, no, I have to do my side project that I haven't laid out yet or have a plan for. So basically, BitCamp is a way for students to have guide rails and have guidance and have mentors to help build something from scratch. So what BitCamp consists of is a curriculum, which is built by students like you. You'll get to meet some of the folks who built the curriculum and actually learn the fundamentals of how to become a good developer, from reading documentation, how to Google things, to actually building something that works, And then you apply those skills you learn in the curriculum to make your own project that you get to show off on your GitHub. That's like the whole program.
Yeah, I feel slightly attacked by the boba analogy, but
just slightly, So BitProject is let's take a second to talk about BitProject for a second, Shreya. What is BitProject? Let me throw that back at you, because I feel like I was talking for a while.
Okay. BitProject, okay, my regular spiel for BitProject is that we're a group of students that just really love education. We've all had various forms of education and experiences, and we're all just coming together to make sure that we can use our resources to help students out there that don't have access to the same resources that we do. Back at you, Daniel.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. So, we are just a bunch of students. Well, I was recently a student that I want opportunity to give back to the community and actually help other students learn. Because when I was a student, the best way I learned things was to actually try to teach someone else to kind of make sure that I got what I was doing. Oh, Umair, welcome. You're really awesome too. And yes, it is possible to get involved with no knowledge. So yeah, definitely apply.
Yeah,
okay, let's go to the next.
We'll be talking more about requirements at the end of the thing today. Yeah.
Yay.
So
awesome,
now,
Emily.
I'm going to talk a little bit about
Oh, sorry.
Wait,
let me
what
introduce Emily real quick. Wait, can I just be like, hey,
yeah,
this is Emily.
This is so chaotic. Yeah, go for it.
Emily, hello. Can you tell us more about serverless?
Thank you for the awesome introduction. So before we actually get into what the curriculum is, you might want to understand a little bit about what serverless even is. Because when I first started, the program was like, by the way, I was in the second serverless cohort, so that's pretty cool. And then I mentored the third, so this is going to be the fourth one. So you guys are getting the premium curriculum. Anyways, so what is serverless? Well, basically it's the cloud. Now you might be like, well, what is the cloud? Well, the cloud is the servers that can be accessed over the internet. So when you have Google Drive, that's the cloud. You're storing files in the cloud. Well, you can also run code in the cloud. So usually, let's say you're doing your homework for class. Your teacher might ask you to write a Python script. You're probably going to run it on your computer. That's locally. But guess what? You can put your code in the cloud and it'll run it online and not on your computer. So that's basically what serverless is.
Yay.
Yeah, now you might be wondering like why though? Because why would you want to put code in the cloud if you have it on your computer and it works fine? Well, first of all, you're free from the worries of managing a server. And don't worry if you don't understand exactly what a server does or how it works. But basically, managing a server is like super hard. Like you have to worry about so much stuff. But with serverless, hence the name serverless, you don't have to worry about it. All you have to worry about is your code. You put your code in the cloud, it runs, and everything's happy. On top of that, you also gain skills. So you can process data, connect different services. So maybe you want to integrate Spotify. There's a Spotify API. You can integrate that using serverless functions. And you can even build your own API. So all of these skills that can be gained from serverless, using it as a tool, this can be applied everywhere from you like making your own projects, which is something you will do in the camp, and maybe applying it to real world scenarios when you're doing a hackathon. So this really can be used anywhere, honestly.
Yep, that was an amazing description of serverless. And if you still don't get it, you should apply to the camp so that we can teach you in detail.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right, what are we going to learn? So like I said before, just a quick intro to serverless. Now I'm going to go into what the curriculum really looks like. So for week 1 is getting started with Azure Functions. Now, Azure Functions are just serverless functions, except we're doing it with Microsoft. So Microsoft has this awesome Azure console, and you can use the UI. You can also do it locally on your VS Code, but it's really awesome. And we're just going to get you introduced and answer your questions about what exactly serverless is. Week 2, we're going to start working with APIs. So this is what I was talking about with Spotify. There's a Giphy API. There's a Twilio API that you can use to send text messages. And we're just going to learn how to read documentation, because that's a really important part of becoming a good developer. Is you need to understand how to integrate others' work into yours, because you don't want to code everything from scratch, because that's just dumb. Don't do that. Week 3 is incorporating a database. Now we're kind of hitting the major points of software development in this bootcamp. We're going to be covering APIs, and now we're going to be talking about databases. You're going to learn how to store data, retrieve data, do stuff with it, display it, visualize it, everything you'd think. And like I said before, this like serverless functions can also be applied to many other projects. Now we have week 4, building a front end. So from week 1 to 3, it was kind of all back end. So it's stuff that runs behind the scenes. Now for week 4, we're going to be focusing on what the user sees. So when the user browses to your web page, how are they going to click around? How are they going to upload an image? What are they going to see? And then that's kind of just finishing up the project for our curriculum. But the most exciting part is coming now in week 5 through 9. You're going to start building your own projects. No limitations. Only rule is that you have to include serverless functions. That's it. So this is, I think it was the best part of my camp. And I'll talk about my project later. But I was able to build a project in under like 4 to 5 weeks. And we will have a serverless day. So that's kind of like a conference talk, if any of you have seen those before, but it's a great way to learn more about serverless from others and just demonstrating what you've learned. And as always, it's a great thing to put on your resume.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that description and breakdown, Emily. If you guys have any extra questions about the breakdown, about what's going to happen in specific weeks, feel free to ask Emily. You can also check out the blogs that Daniel linked in the comments just over there. Awesome. So this is my favorite part. How is the camp structured? It's really exciting because we've had this camp around 3 times already. So we've learned a lot from the previous cohorts, and we're going to be kind of bringing you the best version of it yet. We're going to be having virtual learning lectures. Also, to add to this, the entire camp is virtual. I've been getting some questions about like if there's going to be in-person events. It's completely virtual. The learning lectures are awesome. They're all done by instructors that are like Emily, Fifi, all the other people that you're going to see later. They sit down, they pair program, they go through the homework, they make sure that you have all of the skills that you need to complete the assignments for that specific week and also build your own project in the future. We have mentors from Microsoft that also join these lectures. Sometimes they build projects. It's all sorts of fun stuff. And these happen on a weekly basis towards the beginning of the week so that you have enough time to complete the homework. Go ahead, Daniel.
Also, may I say that the person, the Microsoft mentor who codes during these live streams, her name is Chloe, and she has bright orange hair, and her background changes every week. So if you want to get excited about background changes and theater and coding, like this lecture experience is something
this
that
might
I
not
look
make
forward to.
sense right now, but we did facial recognition on a pancake. So if you want to learn more about that, you can.
That is so cool.
See, AI/ML with pancakes, what could be better, honestly,
Yeah, using technology for the right reasons here.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have weekly work sessions. Now, this is how we're diverting a little bit from the past. So instead of only having like office hours where you go and ask questions, we're going to have work sessions where you actually get to not only sit with the instructors to ask them your questions and make sure you completely understood what the instructors taught you that week, but also get a chance to meet your team. You can network with them, socialize, have fun. You can play games. You can work on your projects and your assignment during that time to make sure that as you're working on it, you can discuss it with your peers. We just want to make this as much of like a collaborative environment so you don't feel like you're just like sitting at home and coding. But you do get a chance to sit at home and code if you enjoy doing that. And yeah, you can set common goals. Each team is going to be setting their own individual goals to say, okay, as a group, we want to achieve this, this, and this by the end of this week or by these days. And then you can stay motivated and stay track with your team. It's going to be a one-on-one virtual learning experience. So you're going to be learning from the best instructors who have been trained, and they've also been the people that have not only developed the camp from scratch, but also have been constantly trying to improve it over the course of the last 6 to 8 months. You can set your own pace. So if you're working in college, if you're coming from high school, if you're someone who has been working in the industry for like 10, 20, 30 years and you're coming back into tech now, you can decide what your pace is, talk to your instructors and set that for yourself, and really just tailor the program to what your needs and expectations are.
Yeah, I also want to say that there's such a variety of students that come through our programs. Some students haven't even heard of what an API is. So if you don't know what that means, don't be scared, because there have been amazing, even instructors now who've had no idea what these tech things are and build amazing projects. And we also have had like 40-year-old, 50-year-old like engineers who are like from different backgrounds join us to get into tech because they're super excited about learning about like super awesome serverless tech. So, no matter what your background is, or no matter how old you are or where you're coming from, like you should definitely go and like check out what we're doing, because we're really cool.
Oh, it's
That's not
old.
a very
it's
good
very
extra.
young. Yeah. 45 is not old.
45 is not old. Sorry. That was offensive. I'm sorry. Anthony, I think Anthony was shaking his head like slightly. I saw him like slightly.
No.
Yeah. Anthony was like, no.
Okay. So these are some of our awesome instructors. It's not all of them. I think we have like 4 or 5 more instructors, but look at their beautiful faces. Aren't they awesome? Don't you just want to work with them?
Yes.
They're all going to be split up into teams of 2 instructors that are going to be working with 8 students each. So you're going to have a lot of good kind of like individual feedback during your program. And this is one of like the coolest parts of this program is that you actually get paired up with an industry mentor, someone who's from Microsoft or another company that deals with serverless, that has a lot of experience working with different APIs, Azure functions, other serverless functions. And they're going to be there to give you career advice. They're going to be there to just like really make sure that your entire journey is as professional as possible. They're going to help you with project management over the course of the latter half of the program. And they're going to help you kind of determine the technical direction of your projects as well. So up next, we have Anthony Chu, who is one of our amazing mentors who's been there since day one. Hi, Anthony. How are you doing?
Hey, good.
Awesome. So do you want to just like tell us a little bit about what your experience was like as a mentor?
Yeah, so I think I did this, I think I lost track at least 2 times, if not 3. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So each time I was able to mentor about 2 students. And we would just meet like once a week and chat about really anything. So whether it's about what they're learning throughout the week, or if it's or if it's during like the second half of the camp, then a lot about chat about the project. So whether it's from thinking about like an idea of something to build, or trying to figure out what the architecture should look like, how all the pieces fit together, as well as if you want to kind of pair program, happy to do that as well. So all sorts of different things that we can do, and it's been a lot of fun, and it wasn't always about the course either. A lot of kind of just chatting about careers in general, as well as things like a couple of folks actually talked like they're wondering about we know this thing is called serverless, but can you tell me about the servers behind the scenes? Because I guess we didn't fool them. They know it was there, and so they want to learn more. So so like we just like spend like half hour to an hour just chat about how Azure Functions is built and what happens behind the scenes when you actually deploy and run a function. So yeah, really just just there to help in any way that I can.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And having that mentor, kind of someone like Anthony, to be there is really great, because there are going to be questions that sometimes your instructors aren't able to answer, because at the end of the day, they're students as well in high school and college. So having someone who has had experience in the industry can kind of help fill in those gaps and make sure that you have a really awesome experience. If you guys have questions for Anthony directly, again, feel free to leave them in the chat and we'll try to tackle them as soon as possible. But thank you so much, Anthony.
I want to say that, like, having a mentor, I had a different mentor during my service cohort, but Ankit was really helpful, and I was able to get a lot of industry knowledge. So, for example, like the stuff you learn in class might not be applicable to the real world exactly, because you're just trying to make your code work. From Ankit, I was able to learn more about how to write industry level code, how to make it more efficient, how do I make it more readable so other people can collaborate on it. So that's a really big takeaway you can get from a mentorship, instead of just because you don't learn everything in school, is what I like to say.
I completely agree. Exactly. But thank you so much for joining us today, Anthony. If you want to hang out in the chat, that'd be really awesome. Next up, we're going to talk a little bit about the student projects. So Emily, do you want to go ahead and talk about yours?
Yeah, so this is my long-awaited introduction. I'm a junior at Panther Creek High School, and I participated in the BitCamp Serverless Fall 2020 program. I had tons of fun. I met new people like Julia and Evelyn, who are serverless instructors. And I wrote a blog on Dev2, which you'll be able to do as well. Basically, my blog just went through how to like replicate my project, how I solved a problem with it, stuff like that. I was able to work with an industry mentor from Microsoft. His name is Ankit, and he, like I said before, he helped me with a lot, learned a lot. And lastly, I coded Bunny Image, which is the project I made, and I'll go over it more in the next slide. I was a student mentor for spring 2021, so the cohort that just ended. And please join us for the summer 2021 cohort. It's going to be, oh, and I just saw, wait, let me put this in the, wait, I actually think I know you. So what a coincidence.
I'm laughing. Okay, there was one of the people in the chat that said they go to the same high school.
Yeah, I just put in the, hi.
That's so sweet.
Well,
Awesome.
okay,
Should I go to
well,
the next
please
slide?
join us for the summer 2021 cohort then. Yeah, I think I saw on Instagram. Really random, but anyways. So, my image. So this is like a problem that dated back to 2020 during the AP testing online, which, surprise, there's online AP testing again this year. But anyways, students had to take a picture of their work and upload it to their computer. And not everyone has AirDrop. So students like me, I had an Android phone and then a Windows laptop. Like there's no AirDrop for that. So it's kind of hard to transfer my image to my laptop in time. I either had to email it, which is super inefficient, or I had to like upload it to Google Drive, just really not ideal. So this is how Bunny Image was inspired. So your image, you upload it to a website, it becomes a PDF, and then you just go onto the website on your computer and then you receive it. So it's just really quick and easy way to transfer images. And on the way, surprise, it also gets converted to a PDF. So overall, it just makes your instructor's experience easier as well. So this is kind of what the UI looked like. I had a lot of fun with templates and HTML, CSS. So this is what I ended up with. And then here's the behind the scenes. So don't worry if this looks like gibberish right now. Kind of is, but it's not. It's JSON. But here you can see the output I received from an API that I was using. I used a converting file API that helped me change a picture into a PDF. And then I used a while loop in the code. And I was able to just loop through and repeatedly check to see if my file was uploaded. So that was just a quick preview into what I did. All this code was placed in an Azure serverless function.
Awesome. Yeah, that was honestly, this one and the next project have been one of my favorite projects so far. You guys worked really hard on just like getting this entire thing set up, and look at the UI, like it's so pretty.
Thank you.
Oh gosh, I'm in college and I wish I had something like this working in my classes. But thank you so much, Emily. I'm going to take you out real quick so that we can have Fifi present her project next. Hi, Fifi. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm really excited to learn a little bit more about your project. But yeah, go ahead and take it away.
Okay, so I'm Fifi, and I'm a junior at West High School in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I participated in the same cohort of BitCamp Serverless as Emily. So it was in fall of 2020. And I coded an app called Price Scraper. So my app basically focused on finding deals on Amazon specifically, and then web scraping prices, and basically notifying you if there's any fluctuations in the price. So with this project, I learned how to use SQL databases, APIs, and Azure, none of which I had any experience in before. And that's definitely where like the mentorship came in hand for me. I had a lot of ways that I wanted to go about it, but they were definitely super complicated. And my mentor, Ankit, definitely helped with helping me see like the best way to do things. Additionally, I gained a lot of foundational knowledge in cloud computing. And like this is just beyond like Azure Functions specifically. I used SQL databases and a lot of VS Code integration for Azure while building my project. And this has helped me a lot, like to just understand serverless in general, both for becoming a serverless instructor, but also in my internships and other jobs that I've had that actually use a lot of cloud computing and that I didn't anticipate to use a lot of cloud computing. And then lastly, I used this opportunity to recreate my project as well as to help other people create projects that they found interesting in with serverless. So yeah, I was also a mentor for Slack in winter of this year, and I will be a serverless instructor this spring. Okay, so just a little bit of a recap on what my app does. So basically, it's an SMS reminder for Amazon products. So let's say you have like a lip gloss or something that you want to have like 80% off, but you don't constantly want to check Amazon like every day, which I would definitely do, but most people probably wouldn't. So I made an app that basically lets you put in like, oh, I want 80% off this item. I want to be notified for like 4 weeks. And the app basically tells you whether it goes up or down below that threshold. So yeah, that's kind of like the little flow chart for it. And then a couple of code segments. So these basically focus on the functions. There were 2 functions in my code that helped with scraping the price off of Amazon, and then also updating a database and notifying the user. So both of those kind of show that process. And then this is the UI. So I didn't have that much experience with HTML or anything like that, but I still ended up with a pretty nice and simple form that you get to submit, and then you're added to the database, and you'll be reminded pretty much every day, depending on whether your price fluctuates or not. And then in the last part, so in the top image, that is the database. So if I put in like my phone number and some sort of item that I want, it is then taken, and then every day after my price fluctuates or doesn't change at all, I get a text message from the price reminder that basically tells you what happened with the price.
Sorry, sometimes I lose the unmute button. Thank you so much, Fifi. I will say this every time I see your project, and I'm sorry I repeat myself so much, but I love it so much because I do so much online shopping, and I'm always like, what are the cheapest prices? Someone needs to tell me. But yeah, that was an incredible project. And just speaking of the projects in general, every student that participates in the camp is going to get a chance to actually present a demo of them in front of a bunch of people from the industry, in front of all of the other students. It's like this really big event where we just have you show off the work that you've done and make sure that you can get as many eyes as possible on that project so that you can also use them for future opportunities in your career, for college, high school, wherever you are at in your life, for getting a job, anything. But yeah, you can see Jeff's demo from the last camp that happened just around a month ago. And now we're going to be back to Fifi, Emily, to talk a little bit about our tooling.
So this time around, it's gonna be really exciting. We developed our own open source tooling, and Daniel can also talk a little about that a bit later. But basically, we're gonna have a whole new experience this time. So maybe have you guys like heard of GitHub Learning Lab? Well, this is kind of like it, but we're calling it Counselor Bot. So this is fully based in GitHub, so you will learn real-world version control skills. So anything like pull requests, issues, issue commenting, collaborating on code. And this is especially helpful because once you get into the real-world industry, you can't just like press save every time. Because what if you need to go back to your old version? What if you messed up? So GitHub, it's helpful for you, helpful for your future experience in the industry. And one of the biggest thing about this is the Counselor Bot, which you can see, beautiful picture right there. You'll be able to, it'll be able to check your code itself. So you just upload your code in it, or you put your functions URL in a secret, and it automatically is going to make sure that it's working. Once it works, it's going to let you move on to the next step. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about how it works, what it actually does. So this is the first step to starting the camp. You're going to click on use this template. And after you click that, it's going to start the camp. So in Intro to Serverless Talk, we're going to be calling repositories, cabins, and the GitHub bot, the Counselor Bot. So just keep that in mind. But once that opens up, you're going to see a new issue open inside of your GitHub repository. It's going to be called Getting Started. So once you click on it, you'll see that the counselor bot has commented your first step of the week. And it's just going to contain instructions, introduction. So if you, like, for example, if you already know what GitHub is, feel free to skip it. Just complete the task at the end. We're making it so that it's friendly to beginners and more advanced students out there. So if you feel like, well, okay, I already know how to use GitHub, or I already know what VS Code is, you can skip it, just do the task, and we'll make sure that everyone is challenged in this course.
Also, I just want to add something,
Yeah,
is that if what you're hearing right now is super confusing or you don't get what we're talking about, it's completely fine. Like I'm an engineer at a company, and sometimes I still struggle with Git. Git is scary, and that's okay, like it's a learning experience. So if
That's
you're
why I
intimidated by what
recommend
we're
GitHub
talking about,
Oh my god. But we will have, like Emily said earlier, we're going to have an entire kind of like intro portion dedicated to making sure that you do understand what you're getting into in terms of using GitHub beforehand. So if you have experience, great. If you have no idea what we're talking about, great. You're totally fine. You're going to learn it on the way.
Yeah, so this is kind of what it looks like when you're starting a new step. So if you see there's like a little check mark. That's what happens when your code works. And once that is detailed, you'll see that the counselor bot is going to make a new comment on the issue. And like Daniel said, if you don't know what an issue is, if you don't know what a pull request is, if you don't know what a check is, don't worry about it. That's the whole point of this course. Part of it, at least. And then finally, this is kind of helping us, but if you help us, we help you as well. So if you give us, you're going to give us feedback. And then from the stuff you comment on the issues, we'll receive it. We have this cool backend thing where we can see how far you're in the course, who needs help, who's behind. And on top of that, we'll be able to see the feedback you give. So yeah, you see the circle right there? That's Chloe. We did a demo with her. She commented some great feedback. And we'll be sure to apply it to the next iteration of serverless.
Well, I mean, we're already really cool. Like, I don't know if we can apply that even more for the next cohort.
Daniel, no.
No.
Not yet.
To the power of infinity.
Awesome. Well, that was a slightly chaotic but basic explanation of what the serverless camp is going to be like in the summer. I'm just going to go over some very common questions that are usually asked, and then I'll also open it up to questions that you guys have asked. So how do you get involved? If you haven't already, go over to apply.bitproject.org. There's also a link to this on our main website on bitproject.org/course/serverless. Daniel, if you could send this in the chat, that'd be really awesome.
Yes, I will do that.
This page has a lot of information about the course. This is the actual form to fill out to make sure that you get an opportunity to participate. And we will have 30 open spots this time, which is a lot more than usual because we have a lot more instructors, which is really exciting. Once you complete the application to the best of your abilities, you will receive an email confirmation after submitting it. So for all of the people who have already submitted it, you'll be getting your confirmation this weekend. If you pass the first round, which is just the questions that you've answered, you will receive an invitation for a short interview with the instructors, and you're going to schedule that interview. And once that's complete, if you pass the second round, you will receive an acceptance email as well as information about your swag kit, which is really exciting. We'll release more information about the swag kit on our social media in the upcoming weeks.
Can you see how excited I am? I'm so excited for the swag kit.
It's gonna be really cute. But yeah, that's basically it. If you have more questions about, when is the application deadline? Great question. April 30th is the application deadline. That is next weekend. What is round 2? Round 2 is the actual interview that you do with the people. Round 1 is the application that you fill out.
We got a great question. It says, what is in the interview?
The interview, there will be more information about this in the email that you receive, but it is basically just this really short, like 15-20 minute meeting with instructors where you're trying to, convince them that you're going to be really dedicated to the program. The entire program is free. All of the people in our organization, instructors, they're all volunteering their time. So what we want to do is make sure that when you participate, that you're going to dedicate your time, your effort, your energy in a way that is valuable for everyone, including yourself. We don't really care about your technical experience that much. You will talk about it in your initial application, but that is not really a factor on whether or not you get in. That is for us to make sure that we're placing you in the right team. But the interview is just, are you gonna enjoy this program? Are you gonna have fun? Are you gonna make sure that the instructors have a good time? Are you gonna have like a good relationship with the mentors? Which mentors should we place you with if there's anything like that? But yeah, it's just gonna be a pretty casual conversation. Nothing technical.
Interview is a strong word. I think we should say casual. Yeah, but casual. But anyways, let's keep going because I know there's some other questions I want that are answered.
How do I get a mentor? Complete all of the steps described earlier. If you pass all of the rounds and you get that final email saying, hey, you got into the program, then you're automatically going to be assigned a mentor. 30 students will be chosen, as I said earlier, based on these characteristics: your dedication, commitment, your interest to learn something new, your sense of creativity, which is really important for your project, and your ability to manage your own time. Because again, this isn't like a place where we can give you a grade and, force you to do things by deadlines. It's really up to you to kind of hold your own in that sense. What does the commitment look like? It is a 5 to 8 hours average. Could be very less, like for some people, it could be a lot more for other people. So just know like what your own time looks like. But the live stream will usually be around 1 to 2 hours a week of pair programming, which you just kind of watch and you're in the chat and you're kind of talking along as well. The mentor sessions will be around 30 minutes to an hour every week. We're going to have programming assignments that are 2 to 5 hours long. The initial weeks are going to be a lot easier. The latter weeks might be a little bit more time. And then the project is also going to be around 2 to 5 hours a week. The project part, this is very much dependent on yourself, what type of project that you want to build and how much time you want to dedicate to it. So I do know some people that have dedicated a lot more time on their projects just because they want to go all out. They want to have something that looks really amazing on their portfolio. They want to use it for their future interviews. So also up to you to try to kind of like decide, hey, I actually want to make a really big project for this. So you might want to add a few extra hours in that case. And how much experience? 0 experience. We are not expecting you to have any technical or social skills, anything required for this program. Just be a nice person, someone who wants to learn something. Daniel or Emily, do you guys know if there's any extra questions?
Yes, I have questions. I have questions from the chat. Here I go. How many students does each mentor have?
That is a great question. I think we're going for 1 to 3. So certain mentors will only say that they want 1 student. Some mentors have a little bit extra time or like want to participate a little bit more. So it's usually around 1 to 3, max 3.
Can you be overqualified for this? Like, what if you already know how to program?
I don't think so. I mean, there might be some aspects of the assignments that might be really easy for you. But the project part, that's like why the project part exists and why we have mentors in this case, because we want to make sure that you kind of are able to test your own skills at that point. So the latter half of the program won't really be as easy, but the first part might be.
Should we apply if we're still hearing back from internships? Are we allowed to accept or deny the invitation?
That is a great question. There's no contract that you're signing to participate. So yeah, technically you can like deny it after getting an application, in which case we'll pass it on to another student. But if you are like pretty certain that you're going to get an internship, please don't apply in that case, because we want to make sure that we don't like accidentally lose out on students.
Wait, let me bring Anthony for the next. Let me bring in Anthony for the next question. One of the students asked if they can use TypeScript and Deno in their application. And if you apply and you put that, we're going to match you with Anthony. Because guess what, Anthony, what do you do at Microsoft?
I work at Microsoft.
No, but like, don't you like support Deno or something? Like, I thought.
Oh no,
I thought-
I started. Well, I started the library for Deno support for Azure Functions, but I have other contributors helping out now. I can't be trusted with it.
No, but Anthony is kind of the best, honestly. So if you don't, even if you don't get into the camp, go follow Anthony on Twitter. He is
He's
a
cool.
master genius. So your skill level determines the difficulty of the project you're assigned.
You're not assigned a project. You are not assigned a project. You come up with your own idea of the project. You work with your instructors, you work with your mentors, but it's completely your idea. You might be assigned to specific teams. We want to make sure there's like a good diversity in each team. So like which instructor you get and which mentor you get might be determined based off of your skills, but not your project.
What's the average amount of time we would be committing to the camp per week?
5 to 8 hours a week, but that's more or less. Some people will dedicate a lot more, but yeah.
Okay, so if we have not gotten to your question, this is your time to ask, or forever hold your peace.
That's a little intense there.
Forever. Holding my peace. Okay, cool. But someone asked about new relics, so thank you for bringing it up. So what we will be doing during the course is that we're actually this time. What I'm super excited about is that I'm going to be bringing all of my DevRel friends to the camp, which means that we're going to have multiple workshops around certain technology. So if you want to use a certain technology in your app, we can probably get someone from that company to come and like talk to us about how to use their technology. Oh, when will we know if we're selected for the interview, Shreya?
For the interview, if you have applied by midnight tonight, then you will know this weekend, latest by Sunday. If you apply after that, you'll know at the weekend, basically around that time.
Great. Is this manageable with summer classes? Like, Shreya, would you recommend this if you're taking summer classes?
Yes, because most of every camp we've done has been during like regular school classes as well. So if you're taking like 5 summer classes, no. But if you're taking a couple summer classes, then it's definitely manageable.
Like some students from last cohort did it during like, I think it's like January to like March-ish. And that's like final midterm season. So if they were able to get through that.
Can the time be flexible? Like the time that you're putting into it? Like, can I do this at midnight, my time, if I'm busy during the day drinking boba?
100%, which is why we also put you in teams with instructors. So you can talk to your instructors and be like, hey, these are the days that I plan on dedicating. This time around, each team will have like specific days of the week when they plan on completing certain parts of the homework. But you can also like talk to your instructor and be like, hey, I have no time this week, but I can get weeks 1 and 2 done next week. Is that okay? And they'll be like, yeah, cool. Yeah, it's pretty flexible.
Wow, we stand this like this
dialogue.
The streams are all they're not pre-recorded. They're recorded, so you can always access them later when you need to.
But we highly suggest that you show up for the live streams because you get to actually interact with the instructors.
Like you can ask questions if you're not sure about something.
Will you have a cohort this fall too? More than likely, yes. I can't say yes for sure because we haven't started planning it, but we are going to have a cohort during this fall. That's like pretty certain. Because I have full-time work, college students are broke. Yeah. I was very broke in college. Shreya can personally attest to how broke I was in college. She had to physically buy me food a couple of times.
That's why this program is free, and you also get free stuff in the program. Everything.
It's because Daniel was super poor in college, and I'm like, if Daniel was poor, let me give back to the other college students who are probably equally or more poor than me.
Yeah, Daniel worked really hard on making sure we got a lot of good partnerships. so that we can spend money on you guys, and everyone has a good time.
Spending money feels great. Like if you're not poor, like especially on other people. It's like the Asian dream right here. Okay, that sounded really weird. Okay.
Yeah, let's
Thank
not
you,
go
thank
that
you, thank
far.
Where do you find the mentors? That's a really good question. So we reach out to awesome people like Anthony, who are just leaders in their field and like who are super awesome, who are willing to give their time like to our program. But yeah, we reach out to our contacts at companies who are in the serverless circles, if you will. And yeah, that's how we find mentors.
With some companies as well. So Microsoft, for example, does dedicate a few mentors, and then other mentors apply.
Yay. Well, I'm going to probably say thank you. Not probably going to say. Let me bring. sorry. I don't know what I'm saying half the time. Sorry, it was a rough week, y'all. For me, it's a Friday, but I want to say a big thank you to everyone here, Anthony, especially. Like I know this is really late, and so thank you for coming, and as well Emily and Fifi and Shreya, thank you for coming. This has been a pleasure, let me tell you. Shreya, do you want to continue?
Yeah, honestly, I'm really excited to see all of your applications. Oh, one last thing I completely forgot to mention. If you filled out the application and your short response answers were like 1 or 2 sentences, but you really want to get in, I highly recommend filling it out again. That is always an option. Yeah, if you only wrote 1 or 2 sentences, it's like an automatic, you're not in, because there's people that have like written essays for their short response answers. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Thanks, Anthony. Thank you, Emily and Fifi, for talking about your projects. And thanks, Daniel, for talking about everything and just being the comic relief for today. Yeah, if you guys have any more questions, just email info@BitProject, Shreya@BitProject, and I will get back to you. .org. I'll just write it in the chat.
Could you let me just quickly repeat that we do get a lot of applications because our camp is free and it's really awesome. Mm-hmm. So if you submitted like the bare minimum as your application, I can pretty much guarantee that you won't get in. Yeah. So like if you want to resubmit your application, we will just look at your most recent submission. So feel free to resubmit if you want.
We're looking for people who really want to learn and they really want to be in the program.
Yeah. Think about like the dedication that the program is going to be and try to like use the application as a way to show that you actually will be able to do that. Data science info session. I'm not sure what that is. Just to confirm, the deadline is April 30th. Yes. For all applicants.
But yay! Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. If you have any more questions, go email Shreya. Shreya loves getting emails, so
I absolutely
go fill up her inbox.
Awesome.
I am half joking. But anyways, see you later. Bye, everyone.